This update is presented by the California Department of Public Health Center for Preparedness and Response. Team USA somehow advancing in the World Baseball Classic after a loss to Team Italy. That still leaves us scratching our heads, but Italy turned around and beat Mexico last night, leaving the door open for Team USA to head on in to the quarterfinals. Team USA is going to play against Canada tomorrow at 5 o'clock in Houston, Texas. Aztecs are taking on Colorado State tonight at the Thomas and Mack in Las Vegas. It's the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament. I'll be on Aztecs pregame coming up at 5. John Schaefer will have tip-off just after 6. A 2013 Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome Draft Superfractor, one of one signed baseball card, has sold via Fanatics today for $5.2 million, the most ever paid for a modern day baseball card. Wildfires can happen anytime, and wildfire smoke can harm your health. Prepare now. Get a HEPA air purifier, N95 masks, and the Air app now. Learn more at wildfires.cdph.ca.gov. Yeah, let's get it going on a Thursday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer will briefly take over then. I will be back at 3:30, taking you all the way up to Aztecs tip-off at 6 o'clock. No Sammy Long today. He's out in Arizona attending some spring training. So it's just you and me for the next couple of hours here. Text line, you are important today, 70470. Start your message with the word team. I'll be taking a lot from you guys. I'll be taking a lot from the YouTube chat at San Diego Sports 760. So fill them in. Let's have some fun for the next couple of hours. You are getting Ben Fletcher's stream of consciousness. I apologize in advance, but that's what's going to be going on today. We'll talk plenty about the Aztecs and the upcoming Mountain West tournament, which got started with a bang yesterday. Chaos has already ensued in the Mountain West tournament. We'll be talking some NFL with Tricky Dicky Ohrnberger coming up in just a little bit. Darren Smith is going to be swinging by to talk some SDFC with another big win last night in CONCACAF play. And we'll talk some NFL, of course, throughout the show as it sprinkles throughout. Talk Team USA and somehow getting their way into the quarterfinals of the WBC, which I don't know if it's well-deserved, man, but you'll take it either way, I guess. They got Canada tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. But we are going to start with these Aztecs who get a shot coming up later tonight and over the next 3 days to erase any ill will that they've built up with the fan base, not whether it's deserved or not. San Diego State has an opportunity to shut up some people who have maybe said this team didn't live up to the expectations of it. I'm excited to see what the Aztecs have in store for us here tonight and over the next few days. If you've been watching the Mountain West Conference tournament through yesterday and then starting here in just minutes with UNLV and Utah State, you know it's already going as expectedly chaotic as it possibly could go. Boise State losing yesterday to San Jose State. Did anyone see that coming? Seriously, I think San Jose State beat Air Force a couple of times. They didn't get that many other wins in Mountain West play. So it's already started. Boise State was one of the hottest teams coming in, and they lose in the 8 finals of the Mountain West tournament. Quarterfinals get going today, and it's going to be just as chaotic, I'm sure. In fact, you look at some of the spreads. I think New Mexico is favored by like 16.5 points today. Does anyone think that's going to happen in a Mountain West tournament game? No, we're expecting full chaos. And for San Diego State, I love the quotes I'm seeing out of the players. I love the quotes I'm seeing out of Coach Dutcher getting ready for this and talking about turning up the intensity a little bit. And I would just caution with this. One of the hardest things to do in sports, we see it each and every year, each and every tournament, the Big East going on right now, the Sun Belt earlier. The hardest thing to do in sports is to flip a switch. The hardest thing in sports is to get out of the habit of what you've been doing. And for San Diego State, they've been inconsistent. That is the one thing you could say about this team with absolute certainty, is the inconsistencies has been what's jumped up to bite them a couple of times. So what you're hoping for, if you're an Aztec fan, is that the next 3 days you see the best version of this team, because the best version of this team can absolutely go out there and win 3 games in 3 days and take down whoever's in front of them, whether it's Colorado State today, whether it's San Jose State in the quarter or in the semis, who knows? But San Diego State can absolutely go on a run here. We just need to see it happen right? And you're getting a healthy San Diego State team for the first time, what feels like all year, heading into Mountain West tournament play tonight. You're getting a team that's clearly motivated with BJ Davis having some strong words to the media earlier this week, with Miles Bird having some strong words to the media earlier this week. This is a team that we're relying on as San Diego State fans to go out there and make some noise in Las Vegas, in a place, by the way, where they've played incredibly well over the entire tenure of Brian Dutcher. So I'm looking forward to it. Pre-game coverage will get going at 5 o'clock tonight. Tip-off will be around 6 o'clock tonight. And if you're an Aztecs fan, just stay tuned right here on San Diego Sports 760, because between myself and John Schaefer and Brent Sperry, all the way up to 6 o'clock tonight, plenty of Aztecs talk will be going down. With that being said, let's hear from the head coach of the Aztecs, Brian Dutcher. Earlier this week, he was talking about this Mountain West tournament that's coming up, and about how many of these he's played in, and about what it's going to take this year to be a little bit different than some of the years in the past. Let's hear from the head coach of the Aztecs, Brian Dutcher.
Well, excited to get the team ready and head to Vegas for another Mountain West tournament, the last Mountain West tournament we're going to play in. And a lot of great memories over the years of the event. Obviously, we've won a share of them, and we've lost a share of them. So it's a great environment. Aztec fans travel well. We'll be well represented both on the court and in the stands. And excited to play either Colorado State or Fresno State Thursday at 6 and try to get a title and play our way into the NCAA tournament. Yeah, it's more of a feel of my first year, where we had a win to go, and we found a way to do it. I don't want to say never. If we can make it to the finals, there could still be an outside chance in an at-large bid, but we have to go with the intention of winning the event. That's what our plan is, and we know it'll be hard fought because this league has had great parity this year. Obviously, we've beaten everybody in the league with the exception of Grand Canyon, and we've lost to a fair share of them. So we know how competitive this league is, and we're preparing to face either opponent, but at the same time, trying to use this extra day in his advantage, make sure we don't practice super hard for 3 days and then have to play 3 straight days and go 6 days hard. So we're trying to do a balance of preparing, yet not using all our energy and practice as we get ready for a very difficult tournament.
Yeah, it's not using energy. It's having the deep bench. It's everything for San Diego State over the next few games. And look, it almost burned Colorado State yesterday. I say what you will, but watching that game, it was clear to me Colorado State was preparing for the San Diego State game when they probably should have been preparing a little harder for Fresno State. It took a massive comeback. It took a huge effort for Colorado State to just fight back into the game against Fresno and then get over the hump at the end. Our buddy Rich on YouTube saying Colorado State looks absolutely beatable. They barely got past Fresno State. They won't have the attitude right going forward for this one against San Diego State. And look, the attitude is the attitude. Colorado State just beat San Diego State. This happened a few weeks ago, and they beat them on their home court, and that was a massive game for them. And for San Diego State today, it's about making sure that all focus, 100% of it, is on Colorado State, because it's easy to get wrapped up in the fact that, we need to win all 3 just to get into the NCAA tournament. It's easy to get wrapped up in what's coming after Colorado State. For today, it's going to be tough enough just to deal with the Rams, who were winning 9 out of their last 10 heading into the Mountain West tournament. This is going to be brutal for San Diego State today, and they got to come in with the absolute best they got from this season so far. All right, text line is open. 913 says, the roadies, the dogs, the hangers, the bangers are here. Fletch, the solo shows are always the best with the mastermind. Ben, thank you, 913. Appreciate you. Roadies, dogs, hangers, and bangers from back in the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch morning show days here on San Diego Sports 760. We love all you guys, and can't wait to, hopefully a lot of you are still listening over on KGB. 619, tonight we need 3 and D from Miles Bird, boards and defense from Guath, and offense from Reese. Everyone else just needs to do their part and lock in. #Go Aztecs. 619, I love it, man. Miles Bird, defensive player of the year in the Mountain West. And look, 3 and D from Miles, you can get a lot more than that from him. He is one of those all-around players who can absolutely take over a game. And I think you're looking for that, right? You're looking for Miles or Reese or Magoon or BJ to have one of those performances where they really step up and take something over. You think about years past in Mountain West tournament games, and it has sometimes come down to that. You can remember Jaden Ledee completely taking over games, even in the NCAA tournament with that 2023 team. I can think back about times with Malachi Flynn en route to that fateful game against Utah State where Sam Merrill hit the 3. But Malachi Flynn and KJ Fagan absolutely took over games. So that is what you need in the Mountain West tournament, and it doesn't have to be the same guy each and every time out. San Diego State is in a great position with their depth, with the fact that they'll play 10, 11 guys in every single game to be able to endure 3 straight games better than just about anybody. But to endure 3 straight, you got to get through the first. 7-6-0. 7-6-0. Tim Miles did an amazing job of getting an undermanned San Jose State team to completely outplay Boise State last night. One of the most impressive coaching jobs I've seen this season. Still believe in the Aztecs' ability to cut down the nets on Saturday. Yeah, if you weren't watching, man, you missed out. Boise State, I'm telling you, was playing some of the best basketball in the entire conference going into last night's game against San Jose State, and they clearly were overlooking San Jose State. I don't know if I'm the only one that saw that, but San Jose State really hasn't done anything this year. They beat Air Force a couple times. But San Jose State, and they gave the Aztecs a challenge early on in the season. San Jose State goes out there and looks like a completely different team. You talk about flipping a switch. That's exactly what they did. And then today I see the Vegas odds come out. New Mexico is favored by 15 and a half points against San Jose State. I don't see that happening. I don't know about any of you, but fascinating to see how this Mountain West tournament plays out. All right, let's get to a big 3 here really quickly on San Diego Sports 760. No Sammy today. Ben Fletcher in with you for the next couple of hours. We will be hearing from Chris Connolly with the Padres, the CMO, talking about some of the giveaways coming up this year. Rich Ohrnberger will talk some NFL with us in a little bit. D. Smith is going to be jumping on to talk some STFC, and we'll interlace Aztecs throughout the whole conversation as we get ready for the Mountain West tournament. But right now, it's time for the Big 3.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Team USA gets an absolute gift from Team Italy, who goes out there and dominates Team Mexico yesterday. I don't know how many people were watching that game, but the cappuccinos were a-flowing in Team Italy's dugout as they kind of gives the Team USA just an absolute gift here, leading them into the quarterfinals. They're going to be playing against Team Canada tomorrow night, 5 o'clock in Houston. And Team USA, they got an opportunity to change some minds as well. Mark DeRosa, specifically, who you heard Coach Katsera yesterday on our show say, man, the next time the WBC rolls around, don't expect Mark DeRosa to be getting any calls. Well, people have short memories. And if Team USA can go rip off a few wins, big one, presumably against Canada coming up tomorrow, then I think everyone can forget about the little snafu against Team Italy. Sticking with the Mountain West tournament here and sticking with the chaos of college basketball so far, did everyone see? Miami of Ohio finally got their first loss, and that's how fast things can change. Undefeated all the way to their conference tournament. They lose today, early this morning, and now their NCAA tournament lives are kind of in question here as Miami of Ohio put together this beautiful, incredible season, but they lose one game. And sometimes that's all it takes. But setting the table for the rest of the Mountain West tournament today, UNLV, Utah State are playing right now. Do not underestimate UNLV, Utah State, because they're playing some good ball leading into the tournament, and they actually have a 6-5 lead over Utah State about 5 minutes into the game. Nevada is going to be taking on Grand Canyon coming up at 2:30. Of course, San Diego State and Colorado State will be at 6. And then later tonight, San Jose State taking on New Mexico. And finally, in the NFL, the 49ers making another move. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to call him the Big O, because every time I've tried to pronounce his name today, it's gone terribly wrong. But the defensive tackle from the Dallas Cowboys, the Niners send over a third-round pick to Dallas in exchange for him, and he's coming over to kind of bulk up this defensive line for San Francisco, which has been often injured. 3 years left on his deal. 2026 is the only year carrying guaranteed money. But San Francisco getting better, trying to make a charge here for a Super Bowl while the rest of the team is still relatively young. They do have an age problem in San Francisco there. And so far, they've got an aging wide receiver and a veteran defensive tackle to add to this group. We'll see how it works out for the Niners coming up this season. All right, first break of the day. We do have those San Diego Zoo Safari Park tickets coming up soon, so don't go anywhere. But coming up next, you're going to hear a conversation that Big Rich, TD, and Fletch we had with Chris Connolly, the CMO of the Padres, ahead of their 2026 season and some of the promotional things coming your way in 2026. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening on the free iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher with you till around 2 o'clock today. Then I'll jump off for a little bit. John Schaefer will jump on, and then at 3:30, I'll be right back with you. Take you all the way up to Aztecs tip-off tonight at 6 o'clock. We got a busy couple of hours here, so Rich Ohrnberger is going to be joining coming up in about, 15 minutes from right now? Yeah, 12:30. Derek Telgerson is confirmed for 3 o'clock. Darren Smith is confirmed for 1:30. So sit on tight and buckle up because we got a busy few hours leading up to Aztecs tip-off tonight. All right, earlier today on Big Rich T and Fletch on 101.5 KGB this morning, Chris Connolly stopped by. If you know the name Chris Connolly, that means you know Padres baseball because he's the chief marketing officer over there. We got to do a bunch of fun stuff with Chris as they're getting ready to launch 2026 Padres season coming up on March 26th with the Detroit Tigers in town. So Chris stopped by, let us know about all the fun promotions for fans. Take a listen and get out your calendars to figure out which ones you want to be at. Chris Connolly with the Padres joining Big Rich TD and Fletch this morning.
Chris Connolly, who joins us in studio right now, Chief Marketing
what a
Officer
welcome.
of the San Diego Padres, who has literally littered our counter here with Padres swags. We've got bobbleheads, we've got beanies, Cat's wearing a puffer vest. Good luck trying to peel that off her.
How come only one puffer vest came in? Chris, you know how good I look in a puffer vest?
Cat grabbed that pretty quick.
I know. Yeah,
Really
it's cold in the studio.
Puffer vest. I'm meaning to say that to you, Chris. You know what? I'll send you pictures later.
Brown and gold looks good on everybody.
It does. It does. And this scarf that you brought in, this is going to be handed out the opening weekend.
Yeah, Friday night against the Tigers.
I
That's
love it.
March 27th. That's going to be a really popular item, too.
This is sweet. This is sweet.
Yeah, that scarf is absolutely awesome. I mean, that is awesome. That's one of the coolest gifts you've done, besides the puffer vest.
Yeah, the first 40,000 fans in attendance on select nights throughout the season, you're going to get your hands on the Machado hot corner bobblehead. Who's this? Who do we got on this bobblehead? Is this that's your Trevor Hoffman.
We haven't done a Trevor Bobble in like 6 or 7 years.
Oh, wow.
man.
Rich, so this is like July 8th. So if you want to come to one of the summer games, that'll be a big one to come out. And it's so far the best-selling bobblehead of the whole lineup, obviously, with the GOAT from a relief pitching standpoint. So that'll be a big one. And then to your left, Manny's Hot Corner. That's April 9th. That's the first bobblehead of the season.
This is cool. He's surrounded by flames.
The
Yeah.
Hot Corner.
Yeah.
And Manny, I think, truly lives on McDonald's. So we just thought, let's have McDonald's sponsored. It's not like
You know what's so crazy about that? You would think, all right, now don't get me wrong, professional athletes, like they're training all the time, they're working out, nutrition's important to them, but like there are certain guys who are freaks of nature, absolute freaks of nature, who can fuel themselves with literally anything their entire career, and they can still have all the success. And I mean, Manny is durable. Not only is he talented, but he also doesn't miss games really. Chad Ochocinco was a guy like this. So I played with him in New England for a year. We overlapped my final season with the Patriots. He had signed with the team.
Yeah.
He was another guy, Chad Johnson, who used to eat McDonald's every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And he was one of the fastest human beings I've ever been around in my life.
I remember I lived in Cincinnati when he first got there. He would start cramping in the second half of games. And so the medical team said, you got to kind of cut back a little.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the medical team would bring him a Big Mac.
I'm sure like one of the trainers running out with a hash brown, like, oh my gosh, we just got it.
Yeah.
We just made it under the wire for breakfast.
He needs calories.
But yeah, Manny's on April 9th. Trevor's on July 8th. Those are the two, the big winners so far in the bobblehead sweepstakes. But
tell me about this belt bag you guys are giving away.
oh, this is going to be great, Kat. This is inspired by the 98 World Series team.
Yeah.
Navy blue belt bag. I guess from 98, we'd call it a fanny pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say we call it fanny packs.
That's
That's
cute.
it.
Okay, and this you're allowed to bring into the stadium.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's the perfect
Will you
size.
Please don't say it's cute, because I was thinking like, I want to wear this so bad. I want to say like, oh yeah, you look like a real hoss. You can wear that.
I feel
Man,
like-
you look like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, circa 2001.
Kat, these belt bags have become some of like the best giveaways the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like we're starting to do one now almost every year. They're
Well,
so popular.
They're very trendy because you can wear them as a fanny, or you could wear it as a one shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Like
it
you
is.
just wear it a crossbody
You
bag.
look good.
Yeah.
You got the
Everybody's-
vest, got the belt bag. You're looking great. That's Monday, March 30th, the
Cool.
belt back.
I'm gonna be there.
Chris Connolly, Chief Marketing Officer for the Padres. Do you see what's happening here? Kat is slowly collecting all
Here,
of
why
the
don't you put the
promotional
beanie
items.
on,
Yeah,
too?
don't sleep on that beanie.
Let's see the scarf
Yeah.
first.
Don't sleep.
There you go.
Chris, while Cat's
Lord.
getting all dressed up, you guys are doing a Dawn and Mud bobblehead too this year, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a theme game
Okay.
ticket. So those are limited in nature. On a giveaway, all 40,000 fans who enter
Gotcha.
get the giveaway, but Don and Mud is a theme game ticket. So just go to padres.com/theme games, but Don Orsillo is over the moon.
It's one of the coolest bobbleheads I've seen, and these guys are pumped about it.
And you know, Mud can never
dude.
purportedly fit in the mini yacht, so we
Right.
just put him on a life preserver,
That's so funny.
trailing behind the yacht. So,
You know what's crazy? What you did with the Don and Mud bobblehead is Mud. His head is to scale on the bobblehead.
Well, and his head kind of
Unbelievable.
bobbles naturally.
Yeah, that's correct. No, Mud and Don are two of our favorites, but Chris, you absolutely are as well.
you guys are the best. Go Padres.
Go Padres,
Pods.
indeed.
That was Chris Connolly earlier today on with Big Rich, TD, and Fletch this morning. The show we do over on 101.5 KGB, talking about some of the giveaways coming up this Padres season, a little inside information. So really, I thought the most fascinating part of that was the fact that Chris Connolly was fine throwing Manny Machado under the bus for eating McDonald's all the time. And I think it's been reported, isn't it, like Manny loves the chicken nuggets at McDonald's and the large fry. So Manny Machado, McDonald's guy, one of us, one of us, one of us. Very cool. Excited about Padres season, man. We were making some plans in the building yesterday and a couple weeks ago, talking about where we're going to be for opening day and what we're doing on March 26th as the Padres take on the Detroit Tigers down in the gas lamp at Petco Park. I do know Chris was coming in talking about some different membership packages and some different tickets you can buy this year at Padres.com. So check all that out as we get ready. Under a month away, man, from starting that marathon once again, every single year. That's what it feels like. And the Padres are up against it this year, obviously. Some people frustrated about the way that the final, 2/3 of the season played out last year after the hot start. And of course, the postseason disappointment, which comes and it's quick every single year. But we'll see if this year can be a little bit different, making some big additions like Nick Castellanos, like Walker Buehler, and see how the Padres do coming up in just a few weeks' time down at Petco Park. Looking forward to it. All right, coming up next, Big Rich Ohrnberger is going to be joining us, talk some NFL, the chaos of the last few days, the Max Crosby trade, then not trade. We'll get into it all with Rich Ohrnberger coming up on the other side. But right now, if you are interested in going to check out the brand new Elephant Valley at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, I got to go check it out yesterday. Place is incredible, man. The elephants are huge. They're way bigger than you think, which is shocking because you think of elephants as being huge. But if you want to check it out, bring the whole family. We got a 4-pack of tickets for you. So call right now, 877-767-4760. Call number 10. You're going to be going to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. I'll pick you up here in studio in just a second. Big Rich Ohrnberger is coming up next here on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San This update is presented by Wendy's new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion. Team USA somehow advancing in the World Baseball Classic after a loss to Team Italy. Team Italy turned around, beat Mexico last night, leaving the door open for Team USA to head on into the quarterfinals. They got Canada tomorrow, 5 o'clock in Houston. Aztecs are taking on Colorado State tonight at the Thomas & Mack in Las Vegas. It's the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament. I'll be on Aztecs pregame starting at 5. Schaefer's going to have the tip-off of that game just after 6. And as we speak, Utah State and UNLV are going head-to-head at Thomas & Mack. And UNLV, the 8 seed, currently in the lead, 14-13 over Utah State. 9 minutes left in the first half. It's been a defensive slugfest, man. And UNLV's playing some good ball. A 2013 Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome Draft Superfractor is a 1-of-1 signed baseball card. It just sold for $5.2 million. That is the most ever paid for a modern day baseball card. Wendy's new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty, first of all, sounds amazing. And it's here with a mint chocolate sauce. It's made to be loved. Get yours soon, because just like Girl Scout cookie season, it's not going to be here forever. Order your favorites at girlscoutcookies.org. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's and Girl Scouts of the USA. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to take over then. Sammy has absconded. He's out in Arizona doing something, who knows what, maybe baseball games, I'm not positive. But joining us today in studio, hey Rich, how are you?
Good afternoon. Glad to be on with you, Fletch.
Rich Ohrnberger, Tricky Dicky Ohrnberger. Some called him the I don't know, vanilla shake of the NFL back when he was playing with Bill Belichick's Patriots.
No, they didn't. Nobody called me that.
There was lots of shaking going on. We know that for a fact.
There's plenty of shaking.
Rich, it's been a crazy couple of days in the NFL as the legal tampering window opened up, and then on Wednesday, yesterday, everything closed down and everything became official. But just real quick, when you were in the NFL, that period of time, the uncertainty every year of whether you could be traded, whether you could be released, whether you could be signing a free agent contract with a new team, what was that like?
It's rarer than you think, right? You know, there's not a ton of trades. Now, we hear about them a lot during this period, but there's 32 teams, and really the significant ones, you know, you can count on 2 hands, maybe 3. You know, it's not as many as you think. And then free agency signings, you see those coming too, because you know if you're going to be a free agent. You also know how conversations have gone with teams leading up to your free agency. So it's not usually a surprise, but trust me, if you're traded, usually it is a bit of a surprise, a bit of a shock. So there are some players who ended up in destinations they were not expecting.
Well, one of them is Max Crosby, who has been excellent for the Raiders his entire career. You figure he's kind of on the back 9 of his career, probably 2 or 3 seasons at his absolute peak left. But coming off of a serious injury where he had surgery just a couple of months ago to repair his meniscus in his knee. But Max Crosby, the saga, he gets traded from the Raiders to the Ravens. Now, this was during the legal tampering window, so nothing was official yet. Meanwhile, the Ravens had different thoughts in mind, apparently, because they get him in for a physical, and they're really falling on that physical as if that was the reason that the trade fell through. And maybe it was. But less than 24 hours later, they signed Trey Hendricks into a massive free agent deal. They play the same position. So you're looking at this, and I actually saw some comments yesterday. Our text line said it yesterday, that if somebody did this in your fantasy football league, you would kick them out of your fantasy football league. If somebody did what the Ravens just did to the Raiders, were you offended in any way by how the Ravens handled it? Because guys like TJ Watt, Will Compton have come out and talked about this as if they're breaking some sort of unwritten rule.
It's one of those things where players, when they're used so obviously as leverage against one another, you get some hard feelings, and that is obviously what happened here. It felt like the Ravens wanted to get a lower price tag on a pass rusher they actually wanted, and so they played Max Crosby and they played the Raiders. And unfortunately for all of the parties involved other than the Ravens and potentially Hendrickson, this was a little bit sad and it felt kind of gross. But that's a part of this business, and the business is sad and gross sometimes. Now, is it also amazing and fun? Are lifelong dreams coming true on a nearly annual basis for a lot of players? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fans obviously are at a fever pitch now. The game has never been more popular, but this is the unsavory part of the business. It's a business of people, and people will do dubious things with bad intentions sometimes, or I should say, bad things with dubious intentions sometimes to get their way. And I think that's what happened for the Ravens here.
Big Rich Ohrnberger in studio. Some calling him the strawberry shake when he gets a little sunburnt in the NFL.
No, but still nobody called me
throughout
that.
his time playing. There was lots of shaking and creamy exterior, nice gooey interior. We all know what Rich Ohrnberger was all about when he was playing.
What kind of show is this?
But Rich, when you the Fletch Zone, thank you very much.
Very good.
Noon to 2 every single day. Actually going to be on from like 3:30 to 6 tonight too. There's a lot of me coming up.
I feel like you should take a nap.
I probably need one. I don't think I'm getting one today, Rich. We got the Mountain West tournament going on. Like John Schaefer's out in Vegas. He was probably up till 3 a.m. last night at the craps table. We know John, big time gambler. But as we lead up to that, I do still want to talk some NFL because the NFL's been chaos. Can we talk about my Niners for a second?
Sure.
Can we talk about my Niners for just a second? Because they do get better. They add veteran wide receiver Mike Evans to the team, who, other than Jerry Rice, has the most consecutive 1,000-yard plus seasons in NFL history. They add the guy whose name I butcher every single time, the Cowboys defensive lineman, Big O. We're going to call him that.
Okay.
His first name's Osa. To the team. And the Niners, it felt like got better. They gave up some draft capital. They gave up probably too much money for Mike Evans. But I guess the real question is, how much is the power station going to affect Mike Evans' hamstring, which was already screwed up all of last year?
So, yeah, all of the reports about
Do you buy into it?
Electrical substation next to the practice facility for the Niners causing a massive influx of injury. I don't know if I necessarily buy it. Look, things can be correlated. That's potentially a correlation between injury and the proximity of the substation to the practice field.
The players seem bought into the theory.
Well, but listen, when you're making money with your body, when you are relying on your health in order for you to have this tiny window to make massive amounts of dollars, like, of course, any tiny little infinitesimal difference between your training regime or the things you eat nutritionally, the supplements you take, or potentially the proximity of your practice facility to a power substation in the Bay Area, all of those things are going to be quantified and measured because, look, any little edge matters. And so even if it is by the smallest amounts, of course it would bother a player because you're looking to win in the margins every single time you step foot on the field. Now, in terms of how the Niners did in free agency or in trade this offseason, I think they did a wonderful job. They addressed two huge needs. They need a red zone target for Brock Purdy. They need somebody who can replace the production of Deebo Samuel. Since he's left, I don't think they've really had a weapon like him in the red zone. I also think that defensively, they need more depth for obvious reasons. The number of injuries and the amount of reliance they have on aging defenders, especially in the front seven, they need to have a young, talented player to anchor them there. So I think specifically focusing on those two acquisitions this offseason, the Niners did themselves a justice.
All right, then quickly here, Kyler Murray, rumored to be going to the Vikings. Hell, that may happen as we're talking here. But with Kyler Murray, you think he has still enough to be a number one quarterback in the NFL? Could he be the next Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield reclamation project?
Now, to my knowledge, the Vikings still haven't hired a GM, right?
Correct.
Okay, so here's the thing. They're going to sign most likely the quarterback who the fan base will react the least to. Now, I mean, you could make arguments that if they traded for Mac Jones or, like they kicked the tires on Kirk Cousins all over again, whatever it may be, like there could be a better system fit for a Kevin O'Connell offense than Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray is cheap. He's probably going to sign to a veteran minimum deal. Kyler Murray is talented. He's obviously operated at Pro Bowl level throughout most of his career. And it's one of those acquisitions that people won't turn their nose up at and really roast Kevin O'Connell or whoever's left there making decisions while they wait for their next GM. So if they're going to make a move before they hire a GM, my guess is if it's going to be a quarterback, it's going to be Kyler Murray. And I'm not sure it's the best fit, but I feel like it's the only thing they can do.
Thank you, Rich. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
Rich Ohrnberger on San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher, taking you till 2 o'clock today. By the way, while I was talking with Rich, Mike Evans had his opening press conference, and he said he feels like the 49ers were one piece away a year ago. He also said, and I am that piece. So we'll see with Mike Evans, one of the top wide receivers in the NFL over the last decade and a half, joining the San Francisco 49ers. See if that team is too old or if that team is just getting primed in their Super Bowl window. Plenty of fans hoping that that is the case. All right, update on the Mountain West Tournament. Utah State in the lead now over UNLV in the first half. About 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Utah State with a 23-21 lead. And if you remember the behavior from Josh Pastner when UNLV was just at Viejas Arena, the head coach of the Runnin' Rebels, Josh Pastner, in his first year, he is a chaotic madman on the sideline. And I would say the credit I would give Josh Pastner is, for the large part, it's positivity that he is spewing while he's going on his kind of epic sideline rants and running up and down the court. He is doing the exact same thing in Las Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Center. He's been jumping up on the press row little scoreboard that they got there. He's been losing his mind on the sideline as UNLV is keeping this thing a game against Utah State. We'll see if there's another upset a brewing in the Mountain West Tournament. We already had a big one last night. San Jose State taking down Boise State. San Jose State will have New Mexico a little bit later on tonight. And of course, San Diego State is going to be playing against Colorado State coming up at 6 o'clock tonight, which we are primarily sticking to today here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up next, I'm going to do my best to make us all some money. We did not win last night on long shots. We'll see if just a little change in the atmosphere with Sammy Long having the day off, if I can make us all some money. That's coming up next. I've already made the entry that we're going to do. I already have everything figured out. If you would like to stare into the fortune bowl with me, we'll do that on the other side. In San Diego Sports 760, you're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. No Sammy today. He's out gallivanting across the Arizona desert. I think he's going to some spring training games. We'll see if we can get some updates from Sammy along the way. But I noticed something over the last, 45 minutes we've been doing the show here today. I don't think I've screamed once. Not having Sammy here saying Sammy things is much better for my heart, I think, because I don't think I've gone crazy once on today's show. And we'll see if that can continue for the next hour or so as we kind of progress on. But John Schaefer is going to take over at 2 o'clock. Now, John's going to stick on from 2 to 3:30, and then I'll jump back in and kind of do an extended Aztecs pregame show for the Mountain West tournament game coming up tonight at 6 o'clock when they take on Colorado State. We'll get more into that in hour number 2. I have built out a long shots lineup for tonight. Now, Sammy does his big thing every day where he gets deep into the games. I'm more of a gut better, right? Like Bruce Bochy was always considered a gut manager where he trusts his gut, and the dude's won a lot of World Series. What's he up to? Four World Series for Bruce Bochy, 1 with the Rangers, 3 with the Giants. So I consider myself somebody who puts my money with my guts, and I trust my gut. My gut's about to get some Taco Bell actually at 2 o'clock when John Schaefer takes over. So we'll go with that. And I'll get to that lineup in just a second here. I do want to get to some of these texts. 619 says, Diggy Zua is the new 49er. And I do think that's how you say it, but I'm never positive, so I'm not going to roll with it. 913 says, Rich, do you think Kenneth Walker as a Chief can lead them to the Super Bowl? Sorry, I didn't ask that, 913, but I'll answer for you. Not alone, right? Like everyone kind of has blinders on. Just because Kenneth Walker signs with the Chiefs doesn't automatically change everything from last year. I think he's a great signing for him. I do. I think he's an excellent signing for him, but they got a lot bigger problems than just that. A, is Patrick Mahomes going to be healthy entering the season? Because without him, what are the Chiefs? Nothing. B, they're an older roster, much like the complaints with the San Francisco 49ers. The Chiefs have an older roster too, and I don't know that just adding Kenneth Walker all of a sudden changes everything for them. I will say, kind of a badass baller move from Kenneth Walker earlier today. If you missed it, they sent the private jet to go pick him up and fly him into Kansas City to officially sign his contract with the Chiefs. Did anybody notice what Kenneth Walker was wearing when he stepped off the private jet? A John Madden Raiders t-shirt. So day one with the new team, Kenneth Walker shows up wearing a rival Raiders t-shirt with the most legendary coach of the Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas Raiders, John Madden, on his chest. Kind of a ballsy move. I can't wait to see how it works out for him, Cotton. Can't you? Because man, oh man, that is a tough one for Kansas City Chiefs fans. Dexter's also asking if I'm looking for Bigfoot. Yeah, have you guys seen the story out in Ohio? Apparently there's a whole family of Bigfoots trouncing across Youngstown, Ohio as we speak. I feel like it's the best evidence we've ever had. As a Bigfoot believer, I'm excited to look into it further. I already looked at flights to Youngstown to go out there with Travis Dale TD. And I can't believe it's on every major publication. The fact that Bigfoot and a family of them have now been spotted in the East Coast, and we're all just kind of okay with it. I don't know that I ever was a Bigfoot believer until today, but now I'm all bought in and want to see how this thing goes. Just like aliens, it's like we have definitive proof that there's aliens existing in our universe, and then all of a sudden nobody cares anymore. Well, we've been asking for this for 50 years, so why don't we care a little bit about it? It seems better to take our time up with that than some of the other stuff going down in the world. All right, I do want to get to long shots. Let me see if I can find the right sounder thing without Sammy here. Things are a little trickier as I'm running the board and getting everything going at the same time. So, with that being said, Ben, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Pay that man his money.
with long shots.
Crazy. I got salespeople walking in here being like, where is everyone? It's just me today. So enjoy this because hopefully this is the last day this happens. But I'll have Brent a little later on today. Can't wait for that. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Long shots is usually where Sammy puts together a parlay or an entry that you can use on one of these mobile trading apps. Here's what I got for you today. And again, if you've been following Sammy, it's not like things have been going great lately for long shots, so we'll see if this goes any different. I put together a twosie, which is what we call a two-leg entry here, and I'm sticking with the Mountain West tournament, which is, as Miles Bird said a couple weeks ago, impossible to bet. I'm going to try to figure out a way to do it. So Nevada plays Grand Canyon later today. I personally love the way Grand Canyon built their team. I think they got everything you could possibly want out of a mid-major program. Tons of NIL money. The way that fan base supports the school, it's cool to see, man. Now, they're not at their home court, which is where they play their best basketball, but it's also a small number to me. I think Nevada is very good, but Grand Canyon has depth. They have size, and I do think they can kind of outmuscle Nevada here today. So I got Grand Canyon winning by over 2.5 points. Is everyone okay with that one? That is the first leg. Grand Canyon by more than 2.5 points. And then later tonight, San Jose State coming off maybe the biggest win for the last 15 years of San Jose State basketball. They beat Boise State last night, and then I saw the line today. They're playing against New Mexico. Now, New Mexico's been near the top of the Mountain West all year long. They've been playing really good basketball as of late. New Mexico, very good. 16.5 is way too many points, in my opinion. So I'm taking one favorite in Grand Canyon, and I'm taking one underdog in San Jose State. San Jose State may have had their best moment last night. I do not think they're going to beat New Mexico today, but I think they keep it closer than 16.5, don't you? San Jose State found something yesterday. It was an excellent coaching job. It was an excellent playing job. I don't think it was just Boise State playing bad, although I think that's part of it. I think Boise State may have been overlooking San Jose State a little bit. The Lobos probably won't. But 16.5 is far too big for a conference tournament, in my opinion. I think San Jose State manages to keep this thing close. And New Mexico, while they win this game, I see this as more of a 10-point win, not necessarily a 17, 18-point win. So give me San Jose State plus 16.5. Give me, what was my other pick? Grand Canyon minus 2.5. A little twosie, setting us up to get a little bankroll, and then we'll go bigger tomorrow with some of the fights this weekend and some of the basketball this weekend as well. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is going to be coming up in just a little bit. But before we get there, I did want to hear from Coach Brian Dutcher one more time here on San Diego Sports 760 before we get going in hour number 2. Dutch talked earlier this week to the media about the parity in this Mountain West Conference and how there's probably going to be no such thing as an upset in the Mountain West Conference. Now, this was before San Jose State beat Boise State, but his message rings absolutely true because of it. So let's hear from the head coach of the Aztecs, Brian Dutcher, talking about the parity in this year's conference tournament.
I don't know when people say there's an upset, I don't know if it'll be an upset. I mean, everybody in this league has played each other well. I mean, Fresno just played Colorado State a 4-point game at Colorado State during the win streak. And so everybody's dangerous. Boise went in there. They're on the win streak now. Beat us, went into Colorado State and won. So they're the hot team. And then the teams at the top held on. I mean, Utah State had lost 3 out of 4 before they beat New Mexico. Now New Mexico's, I think, lost 3 out of 4 to end the year. We had lost 4 out of 5 and then got a win to end the year. So this conference is about survival. So you have to survive to get a bye, and now that we have the bye, we have to take advantage of it.
It is crazy that the top 3 teams in the Mountain West Conference all kind of struggled down the stretch with the Aztecs, New Mexico, and Utah State. Now, Utah State, I will say, has widened out the margin here at the end of the first half. They're up by 10 on UNLV with about 30 seconds left in the first half. But it's been a good game, and UNLV started hot. We'll see if they make a game out of it in the second half. I'd imagine they will. Because that's how the Mountain West has gone this year. And I think there's really excellent coaching in the Mountain West. There's obviously been excellent home court advantages in the Mountain West this year. And nobody's safe in the Mountain West, which makes this such a crapshoot. That's why the betting lines coming in on who's going to win this thing were so even throughout the entire week leading up to the Mountain West Conference Tournament. And just because San Diego State has had a ton of success in this building at the Thomas and Mack over the years, I don't know that we've seen a year necessarily like this year where it's so wide open to where any of 8 teams can win. And by the way, I would have included Boise State in those 8 teams that I thought could win this thing. And now do you have to put San Jose State into that conversation? I really don't know. So as we go here, just cross your fingers that San Diego State's not the one that gets found out here in the first round. But looking forward to tonight, 6 o'clock game time, 5 o'clock pregame. Really, I'm starting pregame all the way at 3:30 today. I got plenty more sound bites from Dutch, plenty more sound bites from the team. You're going to hear it all throughout the next 6 hours here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, take a quick break here. Hour number 2 is coming up next. Darren Smith is going to join us in hour number 2, and we got plenty more fun to get into here on San Diego Sports 760. Keep listening live on the iHeartRadio app. It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760, and this report is presented by Odo.com, all your business apps in one place. Last night, San Diego FC getting a win over Toluca 3-2. SDFC, this is CONCACAF play, so they'll play them one more time here in the next 10 days or so with the aggregate score, meaning they move on or not in CONCACAF play. In the NFL, new move, Rachaad White landing with the Washington Commanders, rejoining his college teammate Jaden Daniels. This coming a day after Chris Rodriguez left the Washington backfield. Team USA somehow advancing in the World Baseball Classic. Italy beat Mexico yesterday, securing Team USA's spot. They got Canada tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and right here on San Diego Sports 760. Coming up later tonight, the Aztecs taking on Colorado State, 6 o'clock tip-off, 5 o'clock pregame. Keep it locked here on San Diego Sports 760. Your business deserves the tools to make you feel in control, not overwhelmed. With Odo's all-in-one, easy-to-use platform, everything is together so you can focus on what matters. Start at Odo.com today. That is ODOO.com today. All right, it's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you. And you might be asking yourself, where's Sammy? We love Sammy. Or where's Sammy? It's funny when you yell at Sammy. Sammy's not here today. Sammy's not going to be here tomorrow either. He is out in Arizona taking in some spring training ball. We will hear from Sammy on his experiences tomorrow, I do believe. So as we progress here, you got an hour left of me. John Schaefer is coming up right after that, live from Las Vegas, and then I'll be back with you around 3:30 to start getting ready for this Aztecs basketball game tonight against Colorado State. We are keeping an eye on the Mountain West tournament, have it on here in studio as UNLV and Utah State are playing. It was a close first 15 minutes of the game. UNLV did an excellent job kind of tamping down some of the scores on Utah State's team. By the end of the half, Utah State had stretched it out a little bit. It's a 13-point game. As we sit at halftime, we'll keep you updated on that as the game progresses. But hopefully you're enjoying your lunch here on a beautiful Thursday. Hot outside, isn't it? Man, I mean, I've been stuck in a studio since like 5 a.m., but I do know it's hot outside, and it's going to be a toasty end of the week here in San Diego. All right, I mentioned in the NFL that Rachaad White landing with the Washington Commanders. Now, for fantasy football players and dynasty players especially, this move has ripples, right? Because now Washington's backfield, obviously life changes if you're a Rachaad White fantasy football owner. Things really change if you're a Bucky Irving fantasy football owner. Bucky Irving came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2024, I believe, and it became a timeshare with him and Rachaad White in the backfield. If you've been watching any Bucs football over the last couple of years, you know who the superstar in the room is. And while Rachaad White, I think, does an excellent job at running back and was the perfect kind of change of pace guy to Bucky Irving, who is much quicker, who is better kind of running outside than he is in between the tackles, Bucky Irving absolutely has what it takes to be a bell cow back. Now, I'm curious to see what the Bucs do in the draft this year to see if that's what they have in mind too. Or is this the case of Rachaad White was kind of a bell cow in 23, and then when Bucky Irving came along, they shared time in the backfield. So now that Bucky Irving might be able to step up and become that bell cow, is this going to be a situation where they draft a younger running back to come in and sort of be the change of pace to Bucky Irving? Curious to see how it plays out there, but I'm a big fan of Bucky Irving, man. And for some reason, year after year, I'm a big fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it's because Baker Mayfield is pretty easy to root for if you're a football fan, because he got dismissed by teams early on in his career because the Cleveland Browns just screwed up the beginning of his career. Seeing the Baker Mayfield reclamation project and getting that contract with the Bucs when he was supposed to be a one-year stopgap, it's a story you can all get behind, right? And so with the Tampa Bay Bucs now moving forward, is it going to be Bucky Irving by himself in the backfield? Are they kind of going into a little rebuild themselves with Mike Evans moving on? I'm curious to see what they have in store for everyone in the NFL draft, but that is absolutely a team to watch out for because of the conference they play in. The Bucs are a threat to make the postseason each and every single year. So what are they going to do to add to this team now that they've had two big pieces subtracted from the team? Is going to be a fascinating offseason storyline. The biggest storyline so far in the offseason was the Max Crosby drama. So what was it? Friday night, we find out that Max Crosby has been traded to the Baltimore Ravens. That was Friday night, and that sent ripples throughout the league. And in fact, I think that opened the door up for the Raiders to have a little more aggressive approach come the legal tampering window, where they went out and signed a new center, where Linderbaum, where they went out and got a wide receiver free agent in Jalen Naylor, where they made some pretty big moves to strengthen this team up before they draft the number 1 overall pick, which is presumed to be Fernando Mendoza, their quarterback of the future. So I think the Raiders, because of moving on from Max Crosby, started counting a little bit of money. And they started realizing with that contract that we're not paying Max Crosby anymore, we can go out and be a little more aggressive in free agency. We can go out and make some big moves to try to help out our young quarterback progress through the system. Well, not so fast, because the Baltimore Ravens then turn right around, and after the physical with the team, I also think after they were able to sign Trey Hendrickson, they said, nah, we're okay without Max Crosby. We're going to go get Trey Hendrickson and bring him in. So the timeline, we'll probably never know. Adam Schefter has some quotes out that make you think one way or the other, but the official storyline that the Ravens are going with is that they're heartbroken. They couldn't make the Max Crosby thing work, that they're heartbroken because they had visions of Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby both being on their defense at the same time. Ideally, that'd be wonderful. Ideally, that would be excellent to have both those guys on the field at the same time. Logistically and financially, I don't know that works the same way. So I think what happened is that the Ravens were probably thinking they were out on Trey Hendrickson, that he was going to make a decision to go elsewhere, whether it was the Chargers or the Bears or the Patriots or the Cowboys. I think they thought that they lost out on Trey Hendrickson, but he was their first choice. And then I think conversations changed. Conversations behind closed doors with agents changed to the point where Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens became a real possibility. And that's when the Ravens, after a physical, decided that they no longer had the need for Max Crosby, sending Max Crosby back to the Raiders, sending their 2 picks back to themselves. So 2 first-round picks and Trey Hendrickson, the Ravens sort of made out like bandits. Now, I don't think this is all bad for the Raiders, and I know we got plenty of Raiders fans listening here. Max Crosby gives you a veteran presence of the room, and if you know Max Crosby's story, you know this dude has been through some S in his life. Max Crosby has dealt with sobriety. He's been very public talking about the struggles that he's had going to sobriety. And another one of these guys like Baker Mayfield, Max Crosby is just so easy to root for. You see him in interviews, you see him in podcasts. It's like Max Crosby is a guy who is A, relatable, and B, the work ethic does not quit. So you see what happens on the field matches what he tells you off the field. And for the Raiders, I think having that guy set an example for Fernando Mendoza, your young rookie quarterback, that guy setting the example for one of the youngest teams in football heading into next season can't be a bad thing. So Max Crosby goes to his social media yesterday and writes this, quote, "Everything happens for a reason. Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. I'm a Raider. I'm back. Run that S." Presumably, there's like 7 people in the world who actually knows what happens between Max Crosby, the Ravens, and the Raiders. I would assume Max Crosby is one of those people. I would also think, after hearing from guys like TJ Watt, after this has already happened, the Ravens just straight up used Max Crosby. And that's sort of what it feels like. They used the Las Vegas Raiders, and they forced a ripple effect around the league of a bunch of teams messing with their cap situations because they either A, knew they were out of the Max Crosby runnings, or B, thought they were still in on the Trey Hendrickson runnings. And the fact of the matter is none of that was true. The Ravens just threw a bunch of chaos into the water while everything was under non-official verbal agreements at the time. And this has led to chaos to be spilled out throughout the league. Think about the Chargers, think about the Bears, think about the Patriots, think about the Cowboys, all these teams who thought they had a shot at one or both Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. It turns out they may not have had a shot at either because the Ravens hogged up Max Crosby's time and the Raiders' time of dealing with trade offers. And they also had a backdoor on Trey Hendrickson and brought him in on a contract. So now the ripple effect is that everyone kind of feels like they've been screwed over by the Baltimore Ravens. And Max Crosby's sitting here like, dude, whatever the narrative is not what actually happened. So screw everything else. I'm a Raider. I'm going to be here. And I do think ultimately this is going to be a positive thing for the Raiders. You're probably going to overpay him at the end of the contract. That's how contracts in the NFL typically work, is if you sign someone to a big deal who's a little bit older, by the end of the contract, it's not going to work out so nicely for the team. But for right now, for the here and now, I want that guy in my room. I want that guy coaching up Fernando Mendoza. I want that guy coaching up my young defense, if for nothing else than to show them how to work. Because the one thing that's never been in question with Max Crosby is how hard he works. And I can't wait to see it unfold on the field this year. That's the truth, man. I know I get made fun of for picking the Raiders every year as one of my dark horse teams. I'm not doing that yet, but I promise you by the time the season starts, and a large part of it's going to be with Max Crosby, I may be doing that once again here. All right, 6 o'clock tonight, San Diego State will be playing against Colorado State. We have plenty of sound from Ryan Dutcher. We have plenty of quotes from the players that we will get to all as the show progresses here. Darren Smith is going to be joining us coming up at 1:30 to talk some SDFC and that excellent game they had last night in CONCACAF play. But I do want to hear from the head coach of the Aztecs, Brian Dutcher, here, kind of addressing some of the things that fans have had questions about this year. So the inconsistent play has been a thing, right? We've seen this Aztecs team play excellent basketball against teams like Utah State, who are at the top of the Mountain West. We've seen this Aztecs team play down to opponents at times. That Troy loss is still on the resume, and it is absolutely having an impact on where the Aztecs are right now. But I thought Brian Dutcher did an excellent job stepping up to the microphone just a couple of days ago at a practice when there was media availability for the Aztecs, talking about some of those inconsistencies and what they need to do to fix it heading into the Mountain West tournament. Let's hear from the coach.
Yeah, if I knew the exact answer to fix it, it'd be fixed. But I know one thing, we have to rebound better. I think we get a lot of initial stops, and then the teams that do a good job on the offensive glass, those second chance opportunities have cost us. So we rebounded pretty even with Vegas and got the win. Had they had a 10 rebound advantage, we probably wouldn't have escaped with a victory. So we have to rebound the ball at a higher level if we plan on winning in the Mountain West tournament. Yeah, depth has been a great advantage for us. Obviously, I always say, if a guy shows me I can't play without him on the floor, I'm going to play him more minutes and the bench will shrink. But with that being said, I think guys like BJ back off the bench, Taj, Farrell, these guys are all really producing at a high level. So I'm going to continue to ride the bench, and hopefully that will be a strength of ours as we have to hopefully play 3 games in 3 days.
Now, remember the first time San Diego State and Colorado State played, it was a 23-point win for the Aztecs at Viejas Arena, and everything was really firing on all cylinders. And I think that gave the fan base kind of a lot of hope moving forward. That was a pivotal part in the season, and the Aztecs were playing some really good ball. And then they went to Colorado State. And yes, it's at elevation. Yes, it's a different story. It was that was the orange out game for Colorado State. It was their only sellout of the year. It was a big deal up there, and they win 83-74. So San Diego State loses the second time they played them. And I immediately go to the rebounds, which San Diego State did lose the rebounding battle in that game. But it was close enough, and San Diego State just kind of had one of their off nights, one of those inconsistent nights, and it happened against the Colorado State team. So coming into today, Colorado State is not the archetype of the team that's beat the Aztecs this year. Colorado State isn't some overpowering offensive rebounding team. They're not some crazy athletic team, but they're a team that can absolutely beat you. They're one of the better three-point shooting teams in the country, and against the Aztecs, the last time these two teams played, they made 13 of them. 13 threes is something that get you beat in a Mountain West tournament game. In fact, that may be the only way Colorado State has to beat San Diego State, but you're also playing against one of the hottest teams in the Mountain West, winning 9 out of their last 10. It's going to be a battle today at the Thomas and Mack Center. The Mountain West tournament is always a battle. We saw chaos ensue last night with San Jose State getting a win over Boise State. But for San Diego State today, if they play their brand of basketball, if they play this tough physical nature, which they at times this year have been able to play with, I think back to the game against Utah State at Viejas Arena. If that Aztecs team shows up, they'll be just fine over the next 3 days. But if the team that played against Colorado State at Colorado State shows up, we got some serious problems here. And we'll see what that means on the other side of everything. But for today, go Aztecs. Can't wait to see him on the court tonight. I'll be with you at 5 o'clock for pregame coverage. John Schaefer will have tip-off just after 6 o'clock later on tonight. All right, it is hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you. If you're missing Sammy Long, he will be back on Monday, but we still got plenty to get to here over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. D. Smith is going to be jumping on at 1:30 to talk some SDFC, but coming up next, back to the NFL we go. Some big moves happening around the league. We'll also check in on the World Baseball Classic and see what it's going to take for Team USA to take down Team Canada. That's next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. Darren Smith is actually going to jump on in about 10 minutes, talk some SDFC with Darren as they got a big win in CONCACAF play last night. We'll talk about how the season is going so far and other fun stuff with Darren. We'll talk some Padres as well. I did want to mention before we get too much further here, this kind of pains me to say, but Sammy Long, before Sammy Long, back when I was actually in middle school, was a kid named Braden Ward. I was in 8th grade. He was in 5th grade. He jumps on to our middle school baseball team as a 5th grader, and he was great. He was great right away, right? And so Braden Ward now, however many years later, 20 years later or so, 30 years later almost, geez. Braden Ward is playing in the minor league system with the Boston Red Sox. Braden Ward just set a Major League Baseball record for most stolen bases ever at a spring training. He's up to 17 stolen bases. And man, if you guys could have met him when he was the most annoying 5th grader on the planet, you would have laughed a lot. But my dad was actually our baseball coach in middle school, and Braden Ward may have had to run more laps than just about anybody in the history of being punished for being annoying 5th grader on a baseball team. So I like to think that I played a pretty critical part of Braden Ward's ladder to success as he just sets the minor league or the Major League Baseball record for most stolen bases in a spring training, hitting 17 of them this spring training so far. Keep an eye out on Braden Ward as he makes his way into the major leagues potentially. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Aztecs Hoops coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. Pre-game coverage will get you going at 5. San Diego State taking on Colorado State in the Mountain West tournament. And we're keeping an eye on everything going on in the Mountain West tournament right now. Utah State and UNLV are playing against each other. Utah State has opened up a little bit of a lead. We'll see if the running Rebs can fight their way back. It's been a chippy game, man, and officials are actually letting them play a little bit out in Las Vegas here. But Carson Templin, you all remember him for that flop that he had against San Diego State when they were playing at Utah State. Just took an absolute elbow to the face. And if you've watched Carson Temple play enough basketball, maybe it was deserved. But the refs are looking at it right now in Las Vegas for a potential flagrant foul situation. It is 45-29. So Utah State has opened it up a little bit here in the beginning of the second half against UNLV. So potentially UNLV's tournament run could end at home early in this one. All right, before we get much further on in the show, I do want to talk about the WBC for a second because Team USA just got gift-wrapped a spot in the quarterfinals. They'll play against Team Canada tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, out in Houston, Texas. So a few ways you could look at this. Houston, Texas, America versus Canada. This is going to be an excellent home field advantage for Team USA. But it's more that the fact that the first time I felt legitimate buzz around this World Baseball Classic was when Team Italy upset Team USA. And I don't know what that says about the state of the World Baseball Classic, but that was the first time it really felt like everyone started talking about the World Baseball Classic this year. And of course, in baseball niche circles, everyone's loving what's going on. The Dominican Republic with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto, both bat flipping like crazy yesterday in the World Baseball Classic. That's all cool things to see, and it's great for social media and clicks. But has there been legitimate interest in what's going on in each and every single game? Well, not really until Team USA lost to Team Italy. And all of a sudden, just 1-8-6 game with a cappuccino machine or an espresso machine in the dugout for Team Italy, everyone's attention kind of focused on the fact that, well, if Team USA doesn't get the win there, and if Team Mexico scores enough runs and gets a win in the next game, Team USA is going to be knocked out of this thing before it even gets started. Well, they're given second life, and they're given second life by way of a bunch of Italians going out there and beating Team Mexico and drinking a bunch of espressos in the dugout. So Team USA now has an opportunity to go ahead and erase some of the ill will that they all gave us over the last couple of days with that loss against Team Italy. And we'll see if they can get it back. There's plenty of really, really good teams in the World Baseball Classic, and Team USA is going to have to fight through all of them. But they came into this as overwhelming favorites. They came into this as the favorites to win the entire tournament, and then to lose when you were minus 1,100. I think that's what they were in the sports books going into that game against Italy. That kind of gives everyone a little bit of shortness of breath when you're thinking about their path forward. And maybe this thing didn't mean a whole lot to baseball fans ahead of the tournament, because maybe you thought Team USA would work their way through and we'll see what happens in the championship game and we'll start caring about it then. But now Team USA has a little bit of making up to do to everybody, right? Now Team USA has to go out there and look like they really do care about the future of this thing, look like they care about the fact that they almost just got knocked out of this tournament. They've been given a second life, and man, I hope they go out there and take it and they really understand that this does mean something now, and they got to go out there and get a win over Canada, and then get into the semifinals and hopefully go get a win over potentially the Dominican Republic, Team Japan, whoever it is at the end. But Team USA has a little bit of making up to do here, and especially coming off the momentum that Canada brought us, like there's a chance that you could start getting some national pride back in sports world with Team USA basketball, the women's team playing right now for a FIBA Cup, with the Team USA basketball in the Olympics next time it comes around. Like that was cool when Steph Curry hit the shot, but what's going to be the next generation? This all kind of goes back to the fact that you can get everyone behind something, but it's got to mean something. And finally, for Team USA, I think we get their best shot at seeing them really mean something coming up tomorrow night against Team Canada. All right, before we get to Darren Smith here talking some SDFC in just about 5 minutes, I do want to let everybody know tonight is Thirsty Thursday out at the Valley View Casino and Hotel. Tons of great deals hitting the casino floor out of Valley View Casino and Hotel over the next couple of hours here. You got draft beers on discount, you got wines on discount, and of course craft cocktails on discount all night long. So get on out to the Valley View Casino and Hotel for Thirsty Thursday. $5 ice cold draft beers, $6 hand selected wine, $7 refreshing cocktails at any of Valley View Casino and Hotel's restaurants or bars. And you could get them while you're playing your favorite slots and table games. You don't want to miss out on thirst quenching deals available on Thursdays at Valley View Casino and Hotel. While you're there, don't forget, sign up for the Players Club instantly. $200 in free offers are coming your way. Free offers to enjoy instantly, including $10 of more play, which is free slot play, $10 of match play, $20 to the Black and Blue Steakhouse, $10 to Patties and Pints, and $10 to the cafe. Make sure you get on out there. Sign up for the Players Club today. It's quick, it's easy, it's free. And the more you use that Players Club card, the more you're going to earn, like free dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, invitations to exclusive events, and more. Don't miss out. Visit the Valley View Casino and Hotel tonight for Thirsty Thursday. Join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. Coming up next, Darren Smith going to be joining us. Talk some SDFC, talk some Padres with D. Smith. That's next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. This update is presented by Mattress Firm. We will start in the NFL where some news came down today. Rachaad White, the running back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is going to land with the Washington Commanders, rejoining his college teammate Jaden Daniels. How about a 2013 Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome Draft Superfractor selling for $5.2 million. That is the most ever paid for a modern day baseball card. And then later on tonight, San Diego State taking on Colorado State at the Thomas and Mack in Las Vegas, the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament. I'll be on pregame starting at 5 tonight. John Schaefer will take over just after 6. Utah State has opened it up against UNLV here in the quarterfinals. Utah State up 49-33 on the running Rebels. Having trouble sleeping? Visit Mattress Firm during the Upgrade Your Sleep sale. Their sleep experts are going to help find you a perfect bed from a premium selection of top brands. They make sleep easy. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you here, leading you up to 2 o'clock. John Schaefer will take over from a hotel room in Las Vegas. Hopefully you'll hear the slot machines going in the background ahead of game 1 in the Mountain West tournament for San Diego State, which is tonight at 6 o'clock. Joined right now by the man, the myth, the legend, Darren Smith. You hear him on coverage for San Diego FC here on San Diego Sports 760. D. Smith, how we doing?
Fletch, you are too kind. You're the hardest working person in radio, so I appreciate the compliment. I will accept it. I'm doing well. I just got back from SDFC training, so on a rather warm, unseasonably warm Thursday afternoon, I'm ready to rock.
It's funny you say that. I've actually been stuck in a studio since 5 a.m., but I have gotten several texts from my wife asking me to turn on the air conditioning via my phone because our dog is probably sweating at the house right now. But Darren, good to hear your voice, man. Before we get into anything else, can I tell you, like, it's really cool to see you and Marty on YouTube and on Twitter again, doing some form of a show. And I really does make me smile every time I see you guys pop up.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, Ma and Pa, local media, still kicking it, doing our own thing on Friar Territory and some collaboration in between. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's been a long time, you know, the work wife and, just trying to get some pieces going and see what the future looks like. But I appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun doing it. And thank you very much for mentioning it.
I mean, I remember a night in Miami where you guys were showing around some young 23-year-old producer and getting way too drunk with you guys. And you guys kind of put on the Friar Territory show then, and it's still kicking. And what is 15 years with you and Marty? More than that?
Probably longer, yeah. I think we started at the Mighty 1090 pretty much within 2 or 3 months of each other. And I started in April or May of 2003. So I don't know what you were doing in 2003, but we were just getting a radio station off the ground back then. And I was brought in there to be a producer, and Marty was brought in to work in promotions. And neither one of us ever could have imagined that, fast forward 2026, and here we are talking about the Padres on some YouTube podcast show called Friar Territory and talking about a Major League Soccer team and everything else that's happening in the world of sports. But kind of crazy when you think about it, Fletch. So I don't know. We tried to scare you away that night from this business, but you were not scared.
No,
so
it didn't work. No.
Stick around, and good for you.
Yeah, now I'm doing 2 different radio shows every day and having fun doing it. All right, D. Smith, SDFC last night, CONCACAF play, get a win, but not without some serious drama. There was a red card doled out in the second half. Anders Dreyer, who just keeps scoring goals. A pretty fascinating game. What'd you think about last night?
It was a roller coaster. It was incredible. I mean, it's just the game had everything. It was one of those games where, I tried to put a few words down earlier today, and I said, I like the best sporting events that I've ever been to, the best sporting events that I've ever covered, been to as a fan. You go through it. You go through the range of emotions, right? Like we're talking San Diego State basketball today coming up later. Think about the range of emotions when you go into the NCAA tournament. Not everything is 20-point win. Sometimes it's got to come down to that final shot, right? Lamont Butler. So you go through it all. And last night was the full effect, the real range of emotion from, we got through the first round of CONCACAF Champions Cup, and there were some questions about the team that SDFC beat. Was Pumas any good? Are they not good? Did their coach almost get fired as a result of losing against SDFC? All these questions were asked, and then MLS regular season starts and SDFC opens up white hot. They win their first 3, haven't allowed a goal. But now you're facing a legit Toluca FC side. That's the Bicampeone. They've won back-to-back champions. They've got great players. They rested some of their players over the weekend, so they were coming in here at maximum full force. So, and then you think, okay, this is going to be really difficult. Like, it's really going to be difficult. And then 12 minutes into the match, one of SDFC's players sees a straight red card, sent off. So now not only are you going up against this giant, but you're doing it a man down. And SDFC kind of took over the match. It's hard to explain it. I mean, for as many games as I've seen in my life, Fletch, I don't know how to explain what it was that happened at SDFC. A man down against this team took over and was the better team going into the break, score a goal, it's 1-1, come out of the break, score another one, first minute, score another one, up 3-1. What is happening? What is this? How can anybody possibly explain sports? You can't. Give up another one late. Unfortunately, another red card, so another player sent off, but they still figure out a way to hang on. Down by the end of the match, down 2 men. I didn't think that they got great refereeing. So, the joke we were saying was they weren't down 2 men. They were down 3 because the referee seemed to be blowing a favorable whistle for Toluca. Just an absolute statement win for San Diego Football Club. This club continues to just impress and surprise and continue to show you what they're all about, which is, never give up, have an idea what you want to do, always believe that you're going to be in it, and always be willing to take the fight to the opposition.
Here's what's cool about SDFC to me, as someone who is new to even following soccer, much less talking about it as much as I can. But I look at SDFC and I feel like it is the perfect intro team into a new sport for fans, because they play fast and they play furious and they play, like you just said, with they can kind of take over games even when they're down a man. But Darren, I think the NBA is missing some of this. I think baseball is certainly missing some of this when they do these little one-off things. Like the NBA has the in-season tournament, and players don't even know what's going on half the time. They don't seem to really care, even if they do know what's going on. Baseball, the World Baseball Classic, we just saw it. Team USA laid an absolute egg. And that was as disappointing an effort from a national game as I can remember seeing since what year was before the Redeem team in Team USA basketball, whatever that was. But you look at what SDFC was doing last night, and every single one of those players, man, they took this stuff seriously. And this has no impact on their regular season. This has no impact on whether or not they're going to be at the top of the Western Division. This is just pure CONCACAF. You're playing for your team. You're playing to eventually, hopefully, represent the MLS in positive fashion later on down the line. It's pretty cool to see these guys take a punch and get back up and care as much as they did last night.
It was incredible. And one of the themes from after the match, Fletch, was something that Mikey said in his post-game press conference. And then, the players backed it up when we had the opportunity to talk to them. So, it's 1-1 going into the break. And, you play 2 legs here. So, you're going to play the first one last night, played it, win the game 3-2. But then you have to play at Toluca next week. And given the circumstances that you're down a man, there are a lot of coaches, I think, that would have said, I don't know, do we really think that we're going to go out there and, just impose our will on this team? I'm not so sure. Maybe we should play it a little bit safe. Or certainly after you pick up a second goal, you go, well, maybe now we start to defend a little bit more. Mikey talked to the team at the half, and I guess this is the thing that he has done. Mikey Vadas, the head coach, and he said, what do you guys think? You're the ones that are out there. What do you think? What do you see? What do you think the approach should be in the second half? Not that he's turning over the reins to the players, but he wants their input. And the players, almost to a man, Fletch, said, we think we can win this, even down a man. We think, we believe, we don't think, we believe that we will win this match. And Mikey said, okay, then let's go. And you saw what happened. Goal in the 46th, right? First minute is the second half, goal in the 53rd. You're up 3-1, and like it defies logic based on who Toluca is, based on the circumstances. Again, I'm moaning on about the referee a little bit, but it even felt like that was working against SDFC. But he said, like, he asked them what they thought, and they all believe that they can win. And that's something that's really special. I mentioned I just got back from their training. Like, I didn't go to bed till 2:00 in the morning, and these guys were out there. Now, not every starter, but these guys are out there at Sequan, where it's a little bit warmer than it is in other parts of the county. And like, you would have thought that they were like training I mean, how intense it was. It was like does anybody around here sleep? Like, does anybody get tired? They invested a ton of time and a ton of energy into that one last night. And you could clearly see by the end of the match, these guys were pretty gassed. Like, several players just dropped to the ground as soon as the final whistle blew. But in terms of being there today and like noticing that there's still a level of intensity left, maybe for guys that are going to get an opportunity coming up this weekend against Dallas, you know, if they decide that they're going to rotate some players out of the starting 11 and bring in some guys that haven't seen a ton of minutes, like everything about them is what we love about sports teams, to your point. All right, they're all into it. They're all in.
Yeah, and it's great to see it. It's easy to root for. That's the biggest thing. And you could see with the reaction that San Diego has given to this team. I asked Adrian this maybe a week and a half ago, Adrian Garcia Marquez, the play-by-play voice, when he was on with us. But I asked him, because for 10 years, you would see Adrian's name pop up in talking about how MLS needs to be in San Diego. Hell, you were probably the biggest proponent for that in the entire city for a decade plus, asking for San Diego to get an MLS team and doing whatever you could in the public space to make this happen. Darren, when you look at it, is this better than you expected it to be if it ever was going to happen? The same as you expected it would be? I know it's not worse because of the public reaction, but did you see this level of support and this level of excitement coming to San Diego?
I think, you know, the team, I'm so glad that we got this group, you know, and, you know, I say that as somebody who campaigned for a different group. Just because I thought, you know, you never know when these opportunities are going to come, right? Like, you don't know. You know, you can say all you want. Well, eventually MLS is going to come here because somebody's going to build a stadium, whether it's an MLS group or it's San Diego State or whatever. But you don't know. You don't know that somebody's going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in this. And I will just say things work out the way they're supposed to work out, Fletch. And, you know, I'm really glad. I think what they're building here is something to be proud of in terms of the association to the Right to Dream Academy. I think they got the right coach. This guy's the real deal. They got the right sporting director. They brought in the right players. The players really embraced the city. So probably a little bit more in terms of the amount of success that they've had. But when I tell you, like, getting a chance like I do to be behind the scenes, what this group is all about, how they're wired and how they feel about San Diego, like it's you know, it's everything that San Diego sports fans have wanted through the Chargers, through the Padres, through San Diego. It's everything that you want. You know, these guys are delivering, whether soccer is your favorite sport, your cup of tea or not. Like, the way these guys are wired and what they're all about and how they represent should make everybody in San Diego feel really proud about them.
And the home crowd advantage has been crazy. It's fun to be at those games, man. All right, D. Smith.
Yeah, it's loud.
Yeah, very loud. Got to get your thoughts on the Padres really quick. I don't know what the number's set at. I would imagine somewhere in the 80s for a Padres win total over under. But given the events of this offseason, the signings that A.J. Preller made, while none of them felt like a massive splash, I think he plugged a lot of the holes that were wrong with this team. Do you envision this year better or last year? Or better or worse than last year for San Diego?
Probably. I mean, it's so hard to think, you know, and think that the pitching, it looks like a starting pitching, looks like the starting staff for a 90-win team. Sort of hard to think that today, but, you know, Fletch, like, it doesn't matter what you think in the middle of March. You know, what matters is what it looks like in August and September. It matters what it's going to look like when you add pieces to it. You know, Musgrove, you know, what's he going to look like? Michael King, you know, was last year just an aberration? Should we expect 30 starts from him? So, yeah, I'd probably say a little bit less, but in terms of, you know, what the questions were about the team last year, you know, which is the lineup, back of the lineup, I feel better about it. I still feel really good about the bullpen. I think, you know, one of the two of these guys are going to click, you know, some of the flyers, you know, some of the lottery tickets that they brought in here between Bueller and Marquez. So I don't know that I view it necessarily as optimistic. I thought they'd be good last year, coming off 93. I thought it'd be about high 80s, 88. I think I was on record saying, you know, maybe a couple more questions just because of the starting pitching. But, you know, I still think a team that we're going to be talking about all summer, which, you know, for people in our industry, that's really what you want. I don't see it falling off a cliff, barring something completely unforeseen. So I think it's, you know, a good team, probably fighting for a wild card spot again. It's sort of how I see it, but, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, to make that indelible prediction just based on the status of the starting pitching today.
83.5 is what Vegas has for San Diego. We'll see what that number ends up being.
Yeah, I mean, I can see right about there, mid 80s, you know, mid to high 80s for me. Again, good bullpen, you know, pretty good lineup, better lineup than it was a year ago. So, again, I just, the starting pitching, you think Pavetta's going to be good, but he had a career year. Can he do that again? Well, we don't know. He's never done it. Michael King, like I said, all about the innings. Musgrove probably doesn't seem like it's going to be there to start. I'm a big believer in Randy Vasquez, so I think he takes a step forward. But, then you're still asking questions at the end of the rotation. So I don't feel as great about that, but there are other areas where I think they definitely are better than they were a year ago.
Darren, this morning we were doing one of those FM interviews that happens every so often. Chris Connolly from the Padres came by and sat down, and we had 5 minutes with him. So we had to get a bunch of questions out in a hurry. But he had a moment where I was like, oh, if Darren was in the room, he would have eaten this up. And he pointed out the new Manny Machado bobblehead, which had McDonald's on the front of it. And of course, Rich, being Rich Ohrnberger, said, oh, what's with the McDonald's? And Chris Connolly said, Manny Machado essentially lives off of McDonald's. And I think we knew that he really liked chicken nuggets, but I just imagine you doing the interview with Chris Connolly and immediately going, well, how much McDonald's does the highest paid Padres player actually eat? Is this a problem? But apparently Manny Machado loves McDonald's and has it all the time.
Well, Manny Machado's never been known as an abs guy, right? He's not known for his abdominal muscles. That has not been a contributor to his success as a Major League Baseball offensively or defensively. So it feels like I'm not as concerned about his McDonald's intake. I would say if I were his physician, I would monitor that. Yeah. Especially as you get older, we're not what we used to be, Fletch. But I do think, just based on him, his physique, yes, I think that's probably. And now, if this were Tatis, I'd say something's going sideways here, because that's an abs man. Right. But, that's not Manny Machado. Manny's an ass man, not an abs man.
And Manny also plays like 150 games every single year. So maybe McDonald's is the key to life. Who knows? D. Smith, thank you for your time.
Sometimes that high calorie diet is what you need when you're burning all the calories out there playing all those games.
Right. D. Smith, thank you for your time, brother. Appreciate you. And we'll talk to you very soon with SDFC. Just keep chugging along.
All right, my dude. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Darren Smith, check him out on YouTube, on Twitter now, Friar Territory, doing it with Marty Caswell. It's great seeing them back in action together. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Final break here. On the other side, get you ready for John Schaefer, who's coming up right after us. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Jay Silves on YouTube giving a shout out to Mikey Varis for having SDFC completely locked in last night. We just talked to Darren Smith. That CONCACAF game could have probably, you could have phoned it in, right? The red card happens. You could have said, well, we'll get him next time because it's an aggregate score between the two games. But SDFC in the locker room deciding to go for it. Pretty fun to see. Jay Silves, thanks for being here today, brother, on YouTube. Ben Fletcher with you for a final time here today. John Schaefer is coming up next, and then I'll be back starting at 3:30, leading you all the way up to tip-off for San Diego State, Colorado State later tonight. Hey, the award show for fans is back. It's the iHeartRadio Music Awards coming to San Diego Sports 760 and Fox coming up on March 26th. If you want to be there in person, this is very cool. You can win a trip for 4 and $1,000 spending cash. All you have to do, listen to San Diego Sports 760 on the free iHeartRadio app. Tap the red microphone button, leave us a talkback saying the keyword iHeart Awards, and you can be entered in to win a 4-pack of tickets and $1,000 spending cash. That's pretty freaking sweet, man. So check it out. Download the free iHeartRadio app, listen to San Diego Sports 760, smash that talkback button, and you could get this prize for the iHeartRadio Music Awards on March 26th. All right. Before we get out of here, do have to take a victory lap real quick because the 49ers are having a pretty big offseason. They just signed Dre Greenlaw, vaunted 49ers running or linebacker, to a 1-year, $7.5 million deal. Plenty of people still saying if Dre Greenlaw's Achilles never popped in a celebration on the sideline, the 49ers probably would have beaten the Chiefs in that Super Bowl game. Oh, man, that feels nice to say without Sammy Long just jumping all over me and saying why that's false. But Dre Greenlaw is back to the Niners on a 1-year deal. So Niners fans can feel all nostalgia and homey with Dre Greenlaw coming back to the team. All right, before we get out of here, San Diego State Aztecs tonight against Colorado State, 6 o'clock tip time. John Schaefer will be on the call of that. I will be with you for pregame coverage. Really getting going here in about an hour and a half. So I'm going to scram, get some Taco Bell, come back, do a little bit of prep, send Brent some sound, and get ready for the Aztecs game tonight. Can't wait for it. John Schaefer is next. He'll carry you till 3:30 from a Vegas hotel room. See how much money John Schaefer has won out in Vegas coming up next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.